The only crime defined in the U.S. Constitution is Article 3, Section 3, treason. The Founding Fathers understood that in times of revolution, a nation must be united under a shared sentiment of duty and loyalty, a commitment to the common cause that binds citizens together, even as they face the dark possibilities of betrayal and dissent. This unity, however, came with a profound responsibility to balance the protection of individual rights with the collective security of the new republic.
But long before treason was a constitutional crime, it was an accusation that could cost someone their life.
In the early 1770s, revolutionary fervor swept through Massachusetts, reaching the small town of Weston, where a small tavern became the crossroads between loyalists and patriots. This is the story of Secrets at the Golden Ball, Spies, Tea, and Treason.
In 1770, Boston was a powder keg. British policies, ranging from the Stamp Act to the Tea Act, fueled widespread outrage as colonists were taxed without any say in their own governance. This led to the infamous Boston Tea Party in 1773, where patriots, disguised to obscure their identities, dumped 342 chests of tea worth $1.7 million into Boston Harbor, serving as a turning point against British rule. Beneath the public outcry, secret meetings between revolutionaries such as the Sons of Liberty took place in dimly lit taverns and private halls, where the ideas of self-governance and resistance were forged in whispers and determined resolve.
However, not every Massachusetts town backed the patriot cause. Weston, once a waypoint along the Boston Post Road, was known for its strong loyalist leanings. Tory leader Elisha Jones even rejected a committee of correspondence facilitating patriot communication in 1774.
With laws directly targeting patriots, such as the Quartering and Boston Port Act, lines between loyalists and patriots grew ever more defined as America tipped on the verge of revolution. Even small towns like Weston could not avoid the tension.
Built by Isaac Jones in 1768, the Golden Ball Tavern stood along the busy Post Road, welcoming travelers headed to and from Boston. More than just an inn or a tavern, it was also a general store and a hub for the community, despite Weston having a population of under 200 people.
In the years just before the Revolution, locals considered Isaac Jones a respectable figure. He even ran for the Massachusetts General Court. But as colonial patriot sentiment grew, his unwavering loyalty to King George III strained relationships. Much of the negative sentiment around Isaac Jones arose from patriot bias in local newspapers.
The Boston newspapers, of which there are 5 printing, they all would have described themselves as operating a free and open press. Open to all, influenced by none was a sort of running motto, but they were very clearly marked papers that were leaning one way or the other.
Patriot-loyal newspapers such as the Massachusetts Spy and Worcester Censure began denouncing Isaac for his continued sale of tea. Some local conventions called him dangerous, urging neighbors to avoid the Golden Ball altogether.
Meanwhile, in Boston, British Commander General Gage gathered intelligence in the city on outlying towns. He dispatched intelligence agents to assess roads, stockpiles, and local sentiment. On more than one occasion, these spies arrived in Weston, seeking refuge at the Golden Ball.
Captain Brown and Ensign Henry de Bernier, the 2 spies, recounted that they stopped at a tavern at the sign of the Golden Ball with an intention to get a drink and so proceed. But upon their going in, the landlord pleased them so much, as he was not inquisitive, that they resolved to stay there that night. Isaac Jones then offered food and lodging, warning them of nearby vigilance. Most notably, Jones served the soldiers tea, a code word that identified Jones as a trusted ally and loyalist.
In diaries and journals, these spies later recorded how they conferred upstairs with Isaac Jones, verifying safe routes, back roads, and the best ways to reach Lexington, Concord, or Worcester without drawing patriot attention. Locals often suspected that behind the Golden Ball's doors, valuable secrets were being traded in hushed voices.
Hearing rumors about this, and fed up with Isaac Jones's loyalist stance, local patriots in Weston decided to take matters into their own hands. They disguised themselves as Indians and arrived at the Golden Ball Tavern on a stormy night.
Finding Isaac Jones away, they ransacked the place, shattering windows and rummaging through cellars. Even Jones's wife, recovering from childbirth, saw her bedroom windows broken. The rioters left a message: retailing or serving tea, taxed or not, was an insult to their stand against tyranny. Their actions reflected the belief that upholding the patriot cause was a shared responsibility, and that allowing loyalist behavior threatened their collective rights. This violent display, remembered locally as the Weston Tea Party, underscored how intolerance toward loyalism had taken root.
As Gage's intelligence operations increased, new faces cycled through Weston. One spy reported being confronted by townspeople brandishing tar and feathers. Warned by Jones, the agent fled under the cover of darkness and hid at a Tory doctor's residence. Such incidents showed how precarious life had become for open loyalists like Jones.
Between the surging patriot cause and the Crown's demands, those in Isaac Jones's shoes were caught between the responsibility to obey the law and the risk of betraying neighbors' rights, blurring moral lines of revolutionary times. Helping British officers might invite loyalty from the Crown, but it also risked violent reprisals from neighbors. Many Tories fled to Canada or quietly recanted their allegiance, Jones of the latter submitting an oath of allegiance to Massachusetts in 1775.
Nevertheless, loyalist reputations never fully recovered. In the words of Benjamin L. Clark from Brooklyn College,
in the pamphlet Common Sense of 1776, Thomas Paine talks about these reconciling loyalists, and he says that these are interested men, in other words, selfish men, who are not to be trusted. They are weak men who cannot see, prejudiced men who will not see. So now, right, in early 1776, you had to choose a side. There were attacks, tarrings and featherings, orders of banishment later on that strip prominent loyalists of all their worldly property, which sometimes included just acres and acres of land, the way that they were going to be making money for their future children for generations to come, all gone.
Just months after Isaac Jones secretly harbored spies at the Golden Ball Tavern, the shot heard round the world rang out at Lexington and Concord on April 19, 1775. This creates an extremely curious question. Had Isaac Jones not have helped spies such as Captain Brown and Ensign de Bernier, could the American Revolution have started in Weston? In the swirl of revolutionary fervor, the concept of rights and responsibilities blurred. Patriots believed they had a right to rebel against tyranny and a responsibility to oust loyalist influences. Loyalists, on the other hand, felt bound to uphold law and maintain a stable society. Each side saw itself as righteous, leaving individuals such as Isaac Jones caught in the middle.
The vigilante raids on loyalist properties exemplified how the drive to maintain the patriot cause came with a moral gray area. Tyranny by the Crown was replaced by what many Tories saw as mob rule. Yet to patriots, punishing traitors was their solemn duty, especially if the Tories were aiding British intelligence.
Isaac Jones lived in Weston until his death in 1813, no longer managing the tavern after 1792. Though overshadowed by towns such as Lexington and Concord, Weston's experience underscores how the Revolution often turned neighbor against neighbor.
To some, Isaac Jones was simply a businessman, hosting travelers and operating a tavern. To others, he was a dangerous Tory, funneling intelligence to the British. His life and legacy are a testament to the idea that not all battles were fought in big cities. Some were waged in modest towns, where roads diverged and loyalties were tested.
Despite their involvement in the war, the stories in quiet corners such as Weston are often neglected. Yet, places such as the Golden Ball Tavern emphasize the turbulent origins of ideals we now take for granted, reminding us about the importance of standing up to injustice and for the right to free expression, which people like Isaac Jones often lacked as opponents to the status quo.
As we approach the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War, the Golden Ball Tavern stands as a testament to the complex interplay of rights and responsibilities integrated around Massachusetts. Here, espionage, betrayal, and the clash of ideologies weren't just negotiated through powerful leaders. They were deeply integrated into the everyday lives of people such as Isaac Jones.
And so, the legacy of these quiet, determined places should not be forgotten, urging us to recognize the major role that local individuals and small towns continue to play in enforcing our rights and responsibilities.
This has been Secrets of the Golden Ball, Spies, Tea, and Treason. As we trace the footsteps of Isaac Jones, British officers, and vigilante patriots, we remember that revolutions are ultimately powered by personal choices and the consequences that follow.